morning, garden friends. Today we are going to be working on the beds down by our entranceway. Like I said, I got a standard little limelight trees that we are going to be putting at the road because the crepe myrtles are not doing what we want it to do. But we are going to move the crepe myrtles back by the fenced-in garden area where my greenhouse is. So let me walk down here and I'll show you what we're going to do and then some of the plants that I am going to be placing inside here. Okay, so everything is getting taken out of this bed, and then we had the utility company come in to mark so that we know where there are lines at, so that when we position the new plants in here. Now my Larapi, I am pulling it out, but it's coming back in. So isn't my Penstemon, my Autumn Joy Sedum, I'm taking out. My Kiss Me Over the Garden Gate, I'm taking out, and the crepe myrtle. And then the other thing that we ended up doing, like I said, because I want this to be a hedge all the way, I did purchase 8 more of these guys. And while you can see they spread, I'm gonna keep these guys nice and manicured because I just want them to be in line with the fence here. But we also got some taller metal edging that I'm going to line up here because I want this leveled because this is on a slope, and then we're gonna go ahead and take these guys out and put the taller ones in here to keep the mulch from plopping out. So that is what we're going to be doing today. I'm gonna try to salvage these guys, trim them down, and work them in the bed because I did get some new plants, and I'll show you guys what those are. So that's what we're going to be doing today, working on the 2 beds. Now we are extending the bed out a little bit more. So Kevin's going to take the weed whacker, get that grass cut down. We'll do the sheet mulching on that area, and then the entire bed is going to end up having a nice layer of compost on it. All right, so Kevin went ahead and edged, did a little heavy so that we have room. I mean, the grass will grow back, so we're not worried about that. So we're gonna go in here and get all the plants moved out of here. I'm gonna get them put in some dirt because I'm gonna be using them elsewhere. And then hopefully that metal that I have ordered will be here so I can get that done on both ends. All right, so I'm gonna get all of these guys dug up. I know I have bulbs in here, so now a couple of these I will more than likely thin out and put elsewhere in the garden. All right, let me go ahead, get these beds cleaned out, and then like I said, I'm kind of hoping my metal will be here so I can get the beds re-edged, get the compost on here, and then go ahead and plant my hydrangeas and other perennials and annuals that I ended up getting. All right, so we were able to get the crepe myrtle out. The one thing we are gonna go through here, we did use that weed blocking cloth. Try to get as much of that out here as we possibly can. Let me just go ahead and dig out my Kiss Me Over the Gate, and then this bed will be completely cleaned out. Kevin will go ahead and do the sheet mulching, put the bricks back, and then I will start getting things planted. Okay, so got the bed all cleaned out. That metal that's in the back, all I wanted to be able to do is, I'll show you on the other side because we're going to raise that up. I did not want the mulch, and I mean didn't want the soil to be running downhill, because what we're going to end up doing is here where this is at, we're going to take that old edging out and put this in there, which will raise it up and keep the mulch from falling out. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my other 4 of the blue juniper ground cover, so that this whole area is just going to be a hedge of those, because while they spread far, I think it said 1 to 3 inches, I think. And I think that'll look really nice and finish as an edge going all the way around. So I need to come in here and get my compost put on top of here. And what we're going to be doing is the Little Limelight. The Little Limelight be center in line with the bed, and then I'll go ahead and get everything else planted. I'll lay everything out how I want it to be, and then, you know, these 2 entrance beds will be done. All right, guys, so I ended up getting my Dianthus planted, replanted my Larapi, have my 3 Garria, white, salvia, sage here, and then my 3 Echinaceas, and then my 3 Lobelias. Now, what I'm going to be doing is my Penstemon, because I want that layering look, and then also, you know, to have things coming up throughout the season, is my Penstemon I'm going to put along the back side and the sides of, oh, I might just put it in the corner from the 3, I think, but I want to get those guys planted. My Larapi looks kind of bad, but it bounces back. So let me go and get my Penstemon, and then start getting this stuff planted in this bed and mulched. You know, I had to come out here after work, and then I have the Muhly Grass on that side, and I think that's going to look really pretty because it's pink there. And then I have bulbs, daffodil bulbs in here, and I also have my gladdies that are more towards the back. But I think once this bed bounces back, it is going to look really pretty. So let me go ahead and get my supplies, because the other thing that I want to get done is over here on the side. We got the edging up, and like I said, I wanted it just a little bit higher so the mulch wouldn't be coming out. I'm gonna get this nice and even, put some compost, and then go ahead and get the rest of the plants of the blue juniper planted in here, with the hope of that just being a really nice hedge in this bed. All right, guys, so we got the second bed cleared out, and Kevin, what are you doing? Come on, let me do this right quick. So he got that edged out. He's gonna go ahead and get the cardboard put down, and then the bricks relaid. And then, oh, that was a ant on me. And then I'll go ahead and get this leveled out. Now, the one thing that I've done, and then like I told you guys with the edging, we got the edging. I'm gonna go ahead and get the beds leveled out. I got the holes already dug, which I think it's gonna look nice. But let me show you, because I did get the one bed done. Let's show you the other side of how nice. Doesn't that look nice? I really love it. So the one thing that I am gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put some compost in each of the holes before I get these guys planted, along with some biotone. All right, so I got the additional evergreens, and this is gonna look really nice. We have to go and get some mulch to finish that off, but that looks really good. All right, he's going ahead and getting the sheet mulching put down, and then I'm actually, the older dirt, I'm gonna be pushing onto the cardboard and wetting that down, and then putting all new topsoil, compost on this bed. The soil is so nutrition deficient. It is not funny, because these beds were put in a good 5 years ago. So just wanted to be able to have a good, healthy start with the new beds. Okay, guys, the bed is done, and I think it looks so nice. Now, I gotta be honest. You see how nicely my Larapi on this side looks. Well, on the other side, they look hit, but that was because I had dug them up with work, wasn't able to get out here and get them into the bed. But like I said, these guys will end up bouncing back so nicely. I am loving how this is going to look. And like I said, we got some bulbs, some daffodils, and also some gladdies in here. So I'll end up having some spring flowers that come up. It's some snapdragons. And those guys are hardy, so they'll end up lasting until spring. My sombrero or coral, sombrero coral coneflowers are gorgeous. I'm loving the color combination. In the back row, what I did was I thinned out my Penstemon, because one of the things that I had noticed, when it gets real big and bulky, that is when they don't flower as well, but it looks so amazing. Now, over in the corner, I didn't have time to go and dig up the other Muhly grass, but I'm gonna go ahead and get that dug up. And then we have to go, like I said, and pick up mulch. So, but look how this looks over here. Oh, I think it's gonna look really nice once this all fills in down here. I am really loving how this is gonna look. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and trim these guys, because I don't want any of it spilling out over the trim. But yeah, the ideal was to have the higher trim to keep the mulch from falling out, and then in the inside to keep this so nicely leveled. And I just love how nice when that hydrangea gets its full size. I think it's 6 to 8 feet tall, because of the blue cardinal flowers are going to look gorgeous. Now, mind you, these guys can handle the heat because these are perennials here for our area and the version that I got. But they don't like the beatdown heat that this area will get. So once the Little Limelight gets full maturity, or even, starts to grow, and even at the 5 foot mark, it'll act as a buffer for not all that direct sun. But man, this looks so nice. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give this area a really nice watering, and then that way, when I put the mulch on, it'll be able to keep that moisture. Now, mind you, we are having cooler days, so this is just turned out so gorgeous. So let's go on the other side, because like I said, ran out of mulch, but I'll get that done on a later date. Like I said, these guys over here, they will bounce back, but that was me. I did not get these guys directly sowed, but you know what? That's gardening, and this is my thing. I am not that instant gratification gardener. I like to see what works and what doesn't work. And like I said, while I know these guys will bounce back, that makes me not be too worried about, the area, because these guys will bounce back. But yes, both of these beds look amazing. Now, one of the things that we are going to do is, once the tree gets settled, we do have it staked to keep it straight, because it is a young tree. We will end up staking it, because I heard from a lot of individuals, because, the flowers get so big, and when we have that heavy rain, I don't want it tipping over. So that is one of the things that we are going to end up doing to secure this down. But like I said, I'm gonna wait until it gets settled, because it is perfectly straight. So I'm happy about that. All right, garden friends, I am really happy to see how this bed ended up turning out. And like I said earlier, one of the things that you just have to be aware of, that I have found, is good to literally redo your beds with compost and manure mix to help enrich the soil. Because as you saw, it was literally powder. I think the plants are going to end up doing really, really well, and I cannot wait until the Little Lime Hydrangea gets to full maturity. I think it will add that entrance into our home that I was looking for. Well, thank you again for visiting Inspiring Garden Corner. And if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. And I so appreciate you guys taking this garden journey with me. Thanks again.